Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. In the beginningless beginning, prior to creation, Allah proclaimed, "I was an unknown treasure that loved to be known. I was an unknown treasure that loved to be known." The word love is integral to the beginning of all things. The word love was at the beginning of all things. Without that love to be known, there would have been no movement. There would have been no manifestation. There would have been no coming in to being. But that love to be known was the driving force that abetted creation. The great teacher and Sheikh Ibn Arabi said, "I follow the religion of love. Wherever love's camel takes me, that is the direction that I go." Now, it's interesting that he says he follows the religion of love. He was a believer and he considered himself a Muslim, but he also understood things at the level of essence. And at the level of essence, love is the driving force. Love is that which creates movement. Love is that which creates manifestation. Love got everything started. You could almost say the Big Bang was caused by love. Without love, none of this would have occurred. And so here we are now, after manifestation occurred, after creation occurred, after the world came into being, and we talk about love. We try to decipher love. We try to figure out what love is. Now, we should all intuitively understand that love comes from God. God, in fact, is an outpouring of love, and without this constant outpouring of love, creation would cease. God, in his love, is the creator, the sustainer, and the protector. God is the merciful and the compassionate. God maintains this world and maintains its creation and sustains its creation. This is what God does. We partake in love, and we partake in love in many different ways. There's the love of a man and a woman. This love of man and woman is what sustains and keeps the creation of humanity going. This is the highest form of union in mankind, the union of love. Now, in this union, there is a certain union of bodies, and this union creates a sort of ecstasy and also leads to creation. Now, man and women do this for their own pleasure, but they also do it for the sake of union with each other. But there's nothing wrong with the fact that they do it for their own pleasure, because God is one. God sought love, and God, in fact, is loving himself. So all of us are involved in self-love. And in order to be able to function in a positive way, we have to start by loving ourselves. Outside of this physical manifestation, there's also the spiritual part of ourselves. There's the soul. And the soul is looking to do the bidding of its creator and to become within the realm of understanding its creator. The Gnostic takes it to the next level. The Gnostic becomes the receptacle for the manifestation. God is the manifestation, and the human becomes the receptacle for the manifestation. And then the human and God merge when God manifests inside man, and that's when you have perfected man, insan kamil, man who has reached a level of wisdom, because the creator has manifested within the creation and a unity has formed. Our struggle in this world is to figure out how to reach that state. How do we go from the state of man to the state where God is manifest in man, where there's a union, where somehow God has been able to integrate into man? What is it that separates us from that union? We, each of us, has to give thought to that. What is it that separates us from that union? Well, there are a lot of answers. One of the simple ones is, can we control desire and destroy our egocentric self? Desire and egocentric self. What's desire? Desire is the need for things within this illusory world, quite other than the love of God, because it is attached to this temporary manifestation as opposed to the permanent, formless manifestation. The egocentric self is aligned with desire, becomes desire's partner in promoting the attempt to fulfill the needs that the desire produces. So we have egocentric man, full of desire, who spends his life trying to fulfill the attachments to this illusory world, and goes in a circular pattern of repeating desire, obtaining fulfillment of desire, or not obtaining fulfillment of desire, joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow, joy, sorrow, obtaining, not obtaining, expecting, not receiving. We can spend a lifetime in that mode, or we can try to escape that mode. how do we escape that mode? We need to begin to know that selfishness and trying to obtain things for this physical self that is temporarily walking around this earth is going to keep us from understanding the truth of existence, is going to keep us from understanding our true nature as to who we really are and understanding the true nature of love. Now, let's begin with the statement that love is the true religion. And if love is the true religion, you notice it doesn't have the name of a religion attached to it. It has gone to the essentials. So therefore, if your religion doesn't have love as its essence, your religion has somehow lost its way, and it's taken on characteristics that are not attuned to God, Allah, and His love. And if we've lost the attachment to that love, and instead we've taken on attachments to the world, we have somehow lost our path to the truth. Love can take on many different type of actions. For instance, if you love a scorpion, what will a scorpion do for you? It can only give you what it has. And what does a scorpion have? It has poison. So a scorpion will cause you pain. A scorpion will kill you. But there are other kinds of love. How about the love of a sheikh? The love of a sheikh will bring you into a realm where this manifestation of God in man has occurred, and you can interact with it. And what happens when you interact with it? You are able to have the qualities of God be shown to you in a physical manifestation, be shown to you in this world, be shown to you with all of the attributes of God's qualities. So you're shown love, you're shown compassion, you're shown mercy, you're shown justice, you're shown kindness, you're shown all of the attributes of God. And when that happens for you, things begin to change within you. Anxiety lessens, and your ability to focus becomes stronger. Fear goes away, because when you're within the presence of divinity, there is no need for fear, because divinity protects you. I remember when we first met our Sheikh, very strongly feeling that we were in an aura of protection, and that nothing could happen to us because we were within that aura of protection. It became very evident to me that this was going on. In reality, we are always within this aura of protection, because Allah is always protecting us. It's a little stronger to see when it's formless, but whether it's in form or whether it's formless, it's still going on. That aura of protection that surrounds mankind is always there, but we have to become attuned to that aura of protection. We have to become attuned to the fact that there's nothing to be afraid of. We have to become attuned to the fact that everything's going to turn out all right. We have to become attuned to the fact that Allah, God, is on our side to bring us to a place of culmination in the qualities that are our Lord. We have to believe that. We have to establish faith in that, and then we can change who we are and change towards becoming a receptacle for that manifestation. God is truth. Truth is love. And when we understand that, we will begin to set a road for ourselves that will take us towards eternity. And that's part of why we're here, to set ourselves on a road towards eternity. We can't set a road towards eternity and be attached to a temporary world. We can't set a road towards eternity and be attached to things that are temporary. So we have to give up the temporary and attach ourselves to the permanent. And we have to understand what the permanent is. And for starters, we have to understand that the permanent is formless. But formless doesn't mean that it isn't manifest somehow. Formless doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Formless means that it is beyond our sensual perception. And there is still a whole realm of perception that is beyond us. We can't see the consciousness that exists in light. We can't see that which is manifest within light. We can't see the internal workings of a sheikh where Allah is manifest within him. That doesn't mean that it isn't so. That doesn't mean that it isn't there. So we have to learn to be able to believe in what we can't yet see. But we've all felt love. So even though it's difficult to describe and it's difficult to measure in the scientific way, we all know it exists. We know it exists because the way we change when it interacts with us. We all know it exists because of what it does to our being, how it changes the nature of who we are in the moment. So we have to continue to make love evident within ourselves. And if we can bring ourselves to lose ourselves in love, then we'll find that certain things happen to us. Now, this has to be an unconditional kind of love, a love that doesn't come into being because of the fact that it does something for us. For instance, if you have a racehorse and the racehorse wins, you love it. When it stops winning, the love is gone. If you have a fish and the fish tastes good, you love it. If it doesn't taste good, the love is gone. We have to have an unconditional kind of love for Allah's creation, and especially for humanity, which is Allah's greatest creation. So if we can lose ourselves, and losing ourselves means being rid of the influence of mind and desire on ourselves, then we can begin to love the creation in the way Allah loves the creation. And Allah loved the creation so much that he created it. He made us because of love, and we exist out of love. Now, imagine if you can feel the love that God felt when he created humanity. Imagine if that Allah allows each of us individually to take in ourselves and integrate in ourselves his love for his creation. Can you imagine a treasure that is greater than the treasure of Allah's qualities? Can you imagine a treasure within this manifest world that's greater than the non-manifest attributes of God? Can you imagine what it's like to go beyond the physical form and have sense perception in the non-physical, formless world? Yes, there can be sense perception beyond this world, but it's a different kind of sense perception. And we have to understand the limitations of our sense perception in this world and understand that we, as we become in love, as we obtain love, as we learn to love all of God's creation, our sense perception changes and we become more than we were before. Now, we can't describe the more because we can't describe what we can't see, but we've seen the more. We've seen what happens when the manifest glory of the Creator enters into a being. All of a sudden, the entire world recognizes it. When it comes in touch with it, it bows to it. Animals bow to it. All of creation senses that reality exists in that spot, and that reality is different than the illusory world. That reality is somehow transcendent, above and beyond our normal everyday experiences, and takes us to a place that we can't go within our normal everyday experiences. So to do this, we must rid ourselves of our monkey mind, of our dog of desire, of our egocentric need to make ourselves bigger and more important. When we realize how low those desires are and how low those attempts are in reality, we will begin to understand what our true work is. But as long as we get some kind of satisfaction from becoming bigger, we get some kind of satisfaction from worldly wealth, we get some kind of satisfaction from worldly fame, we get some kind of satisfaction from praise, we get some kind of satisfaction from temporary joys, we won't make the turn. And that's why very often in people's lives, they don't turn towards God until some event occurs in their lives that makes them realize that everything up to now has been without merit, that everything up to now has been without importance, that nothing's actually been accomplished, even though the world may give you titles and praise and rewards. Nothing's been accomplished because there's an emptiness inside of us that still needs to be filled. That peace hasn't found a place within us yet. When we realize that, then we begin to search in earnest for truth. And when we turn on that search within us, we have turned on an intention within us. And an intention is a very powerful thing. That intention can create within us wisdom. We have innate wisdom within us that is capable of understanding and knowing certain things. That wisdom is turned on by intention. So as our intention becomes pure, and as our intention wants to know truth, commensurate wisdom rises within us to fulfill that intention. Do you think God would set you on a path without the tools to go on that path? He has provided everything. So he's also provided the tools. And even though you don't know you have them, you will find out that you have them if your faith is sufficient to turn on the pilot light of the intention within you. So we have the tools to create an intention. We all know that. But we don't know what's going to happen when that intention really begins to move forward. And what's going to happen when that intention moves forward is God is going to give you the tools to fulfill that intention. That intention may be to conquer the world, but the world can only take you in a certain direction, and you'll be given the tools for that too. But where's that going to lead? It's like having the intention to fall in love with a snake. A snake can only give you what a snake can give you, and a snake can give you poison. A scorpion can give you poison. But if you set the intention to become free of the world, God will give you the wisdom to understand how to become free of the world. If you set the intention to become a vessel so that the truth, reality, can manifest within you, God will give you the wisdom to know what things to take on in the world and what things to let go of in the world. And we need to let go of illusion. We need to let go of karma. We need to let go of mind and desire. We need to let go of greed. We need to let go of anger. We need to let go of all of the things that are opposite to Allah. We need to swim in love, and we need to learn how to use love. If a dog comes at you and is trying to bite you, the best thing for you to do to it is give it some food and give it some love. If you give it the food, that will satisfy its immediate need. If you then give it love, then it will begin to trust you. Now, men are often dogs in their lower stages. Men are various kinds of animals in their lower stages. And what the Sheikh does is he throws out a fishing line to try and pull man out of the ocean of illusion. But he has to do this slowly, because man can take on the aspects of a crocodile, and crocodiles are very dangerous. So the Sheikh has to be careful of the crocodile, but the crocodile also needs to be brought out of the water if the crocodile is to be changed. And how does the Sheikh do it? He does it slowly through giving love and giving food and giving recognition of the true self. The Sheikh is a mirror for each of us that shows us who we can become. The Sheikh is a mirror that shows us the answers to all our questions. The Sheikh is a mirror who shows us our best self, who shows us serenity, who shows us peace, who shows us calmness, who shows us consistency, who shows us fearlessness, who shows us the ability to move forward without animosity and with kindness, who shows us that we don't need to be afraid to love others, that we don't need to be afraid of what's going to happen to us if we make ourselves vulnerable. We can't protect ourselves, but Allah can protect everything, and He does that. So we need to establish the confidence within ourselves that as we make ourselves more vulnerable to the world, Allah will be our protector. Allah will give us a level of wisdom that will allow us to understand the truth of what is going on before us and allow us to move forward in that truth. Rumi once said that imagine that God has fixed everything in your favor. Imagine that. Everything has been fixed in your favor. Allah is here to make sure that we can fulfill our destiny. And what is our destiny? Well, we should understand our destiny from our creation. We were created because God loved to be known. God loved to be known. So, known by who? Known by His creation. Who is His creation? Look in the mirror. You will see that creation. And God has put all of the possibilities of becoming merged with Him within you. And this was His work, and we have the possibility of fulfilling that intention that He placed. So after we've experienced the world, and after we've been through the turmoil and the chaos of what this illusion can do, we should come to a place where we understand that the only truth, the only satisfaction, the only cure to all of our disgruntlement is within our Lord. And we should make the move towards creating that intention with us. And we should do it with certitude and determination. We should do it without doubt. We should do it without fear. We should stop making excuses for why we can't do it and begin to do it. This is the way that true man acts. True man acts in faith. True man acts with certitude and determination. True man believes that he is protected by God. And each of us has to take on that attitude. Attitude is what sets us on the right path. Attitude is what maintains us on the right path. Attitude is what allows us to move forward on the right path. So take fear and doubt out of yourselves. Be sure in your relationship with God, just as He is sure in His relationship with you. God created us without doubt. He had no doubt in us, or He wouldn't have created us. Satan came to God and said, "What have you done? I worship you. What you've created is going to be difficult." And God said, "You don't know what I know." I have created the most exalted creation. Look in the mirror. There it is. Do what is intended of you, which is to create an intention to come to know your creator, and then God will do the rest. Just maintain and sustain that intention. Maintain and sustain that correct posture and that correct path. Create love within you. Lose your attachment to the world, and God will give you the greatest treasure that there is, which is himself. And that's what's available to each and every one of us. May that come into being, and may we all know that glory. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.